Hi guys, welcome to Nat 5 and 5, completing the square part 2. Okay, so from the part 1, we used algebra tiles to represent these expressions here. So let's have a look. So we're starting here. We've got x squared add 6. So here's my x squared. Here's my 3x's. Here's my other 3x's. So there's my add 6. So how would I represent that? So I've got an x here, I've got an add 3 here, an x here, and an add 3 here. So I would represent that with x add 3 all squared, but that would make a perfect square, and I don't have a perfect square here. What is missing? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 missing. The number 9 is missing from my perfect square. So my answer would be x add 3 all squared, subtract 9. Okay, let's look at the next one. X squared add 6x add 5. So again, I've got my x squared, I've got my 3x and my 3x, which makes 6x, and then I've got 5 here. At the side would be x add 3 and x add 3. So again, my perfect square would be x add 3 all squared, but it's not quite perfect again. What's missing? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my expression would look like x add 3 all squared, subtract 4. Next one. Again, I've got my x squared, I've got my 3x's here, 3x's here, which makes 6x, and then I've got 9 here and an extra 1 over here. So at the side again, that's an x, that's an add 3, that's an x, that's an add 3. Now I have got a perfect square here. I've got an x add 3 multiplied by an x add 3, but I've got an extra 1 here. So my expression is going to be x add 3 all squared, add another 1. Okay, now let's look at the perfect square. So that is my perfect square. Look at this number 3 here. That number 3 and that number 3 are multiplying together, and that will give you that 9 here. So in the bracket x add 3 all squared, that multiplies out to give you x squared add 6x add 9. Now this number at the end will always be whatever number is in here squared. So it's the same as x squared add 6x add 3 squared. Okay, so let's try and think of a simpler way of doing this. So if I went over to the left hand side here and I thought about this extra 9 that's always going to be at the end. If I'm gonna, oops, sorry, I've just wrote something out here. If I compensated for this extra 9 always being at the end here, so if I looked at this expression here, to complete the square on this, I now know that it's going to be an x add 3 all squared. And I know when I multiply that out, there's going to be that add 9 at the end. So that's why I'm going to take away whatever is in this bracket squared. I'm going to take away 3 squared. So that becomes x add 3 all squared, take away 9. Okay? Let's look at this part here. This will become x add 3 all squared, compensate for that extra 9 at the end. So you know it's going to be whatever number's in here squared, so take away 3 squared. But then I've got another add 5 at the end of this one, so add 5 on. The x add 3 all squared, take away 9, add 5. There's x add 3 all squared, subtract 4, which is what we got over here. This part here, it's going to be x add 3, so we're really halving this number here. taking away that number there squared, because you know that's going to be added on at the end. And then I've got another add 10 here. So it becomes x add 3 all squared, subtract 9, add 10. So it becomes x add 3 all squared, add 1, which is the same as this answer over here. Okay, so let's just look at the next slide. So if I look at this part, and ignore the add 7 at the end, you're really halving this number here and then taking the square of that number away. So you're doing x add 5 all squared, take away that number there squared, take away 5 squared, and then I'm adding on that extra 7 at the end. So it's going to be x add 5 all squared, take away 25, add 7, which is x add 5 all squared, take away 18. Final answer. Okay, this one. Okay, there's a subtract in here, so that is going to be the same in your bracket. So it's going to be x subtract half this number, which is 5 all squared, subtract 5 squared to compensate, because you know that -5 and -5 is going to multiply to give you your 25. So just take that away and then subtract your 7. It becomes x subtract 5 all squared, subtract 25, subtract 7. So x subtract 5 all squared, subtract 32. This one down here. So again, so we've been at x, subtract half this number, becomes 6 all squared, subtract 6 squared, and then add your 39 on. Final answer. This part here. You're really halving this number here. Don't get confused if it's not an even number. You're still halving it, so it becomes x, subtract, you can leave it as a fraction, 5 over 2 all squared, subtract 5 over 2 all squared, add 1. Now this is out of quarters, out of fourths, so I could change this 1 to be out of fourths as well. So a whole 1 is the same as 1 over 1, which is the same as 4 over 4. So this is add 4 over 4. This becomes subtract 21 over 4. And that's your final answer. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, next slide. Okay guys, this is your homework. Good luck. Now I said in this form here, but sometimes it might be a subtract in the bracket, sometimes it might be a subtract at the end. So just bear that in mind. Okay, good luck. Thanks for watching. Bye now.